Hey you! Sorry, didn't mean to startle you, but are you sometimes sitting at home and you're just like, I want to play a new game, but I don't know what, and I don't have a lot of money? Well, you're exactly right here. I played 5 games for under 10 euros, and this one I will give you a little review of them. Yeah, so the games I checked out were Burly Man at Sea, Lydia, Woodle Tree 2, Mulaka, and Lost Words Beyond the Page. I think they were all really interesting, and I hope you will find one interesting one for yourself in here. Keep in mind, these are all my subjective opinions of the games. Maybe you feel different about them. I ended up playing each game for 1 hour, and yeah, this is what I think of each of them. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it helps you a bit with finding a game you enjoy yourself, and without further ado, let's have a look. Number 1, Burly Man at Sea. Burly Man at Sea is a game in which you play 3 characters, basically a group of seamen on their adventures that they have on the ocean together. You will encounter several mystical creatures and other interesting things, and each evening you will return to your village in order to write down your tales, mysteries, and all the amazing things you encountered. Your goal is to basically fill a shelf with all these mysteries and adventures you encountered over time with your group. So yeah, you live day in and day out by going from your village onto the ocean, living through adventures, having an interesting time, and then coming home to let other people know about it. Let's talk about the positives of the game. Overall, I have to say I love the art style. It is very interesting, very unique, and while it's very simple, I just love it. I think it's very pretty, and it works well with the type of game it is. Second point that I definitely feel like is very important to make is the soundtrack of this game is absolutely amazing. I love it. In my opinion, the best soundtrack of all of the games that we will encounter today in this video. So yeah, it has stuff like this, for example. Or like, for example, this. I guess you get the gist of it. Yeah, I don't know. I love this game for the soundtrack a lot. It's amazing. And last but not least, I have to say the story is very calm, very cozy. If you are just at home looking for a fun time, just some chill stuff without having to think too much, just enjoying, then I can definitely recommend this. About the negatives. Overall, I think the game feels too linear. You don't have a lot of bigger choices. Oftentimes the game overall just feels like you're watching some sort of movie. Yeah, you click only one button or anything and everything happens by itself. Would be nice if there was a little bit more to do. And last but not least, also on this one, the game does feel rather repetitive. You start and end each day in the village, and by going out in a certain direction, you always live through some of the same tales. After playing the game a little bit, it does start to feel a bit repetitive, and yeah, unfortunately that's a minus for me. Number 2, Lydia. Lydia, on the other hand, is a rather dark game. You follow the story of a little girl with a pretty horrible social environment. Whether it be her so-called friends or her family, you are not having a great time. And you have to live through all the struggle with her and experience her experiences of growing up in a world that basically just, despises you. And while that might sound tough, it does make for a very interesting game, but let's have a look at the positives. So, for one, it feels like, again here, we have a super interesting and unique art style. I was really into it from the get-go, and I feel like it fits the story super well. Other than that, I have to say there are some very interesting audio choices. I specifically want to mention here the way all the characters talk, because it sounds like this or that. Yeah. So I guess you understand what I mean. Overall, I do like this a lot, actually. You get the emotions of the characters and the way they are seen by Lydia. And I think it just works so well for the entire game and story. So, also a positive in my opinion. Other than that, I have to say the story is super, super engaging. Like, when I played this game, I was so hooked. I didn't want to stop playing after the 1 hour because it was so fun, and it's very interesting. Of course, it is very dark at times, but still, it captures you, it captivates you, and I at least didn't want to stop playing, so a big plus for this one, in my opinion. About the negatives. Again, it's pretty similar to Burly Men at Sea. The story and the entire game feels very linear. I personally like games like this. I don't mind a story-based game. But if that's not the type of game you are into, then you probably won't love Lydia either. And I also have to say, in some regards, it might almost feel a little bit too depressing, the game. I understand that it's the vibe of the game, but yeah, sometimes it gets a bit tough. If you are not the type of person who wants to be confronted with heavy topics, this game might also not be for you. Number 3, Woodle Tree 2. Woodle Tree 2 is a cute jump and run game in which you play a log of wood. Might sound strange, but it's actually very cute and fun. Your goal is to bring back the water drops that got stolen from your village by these dark enemies. I'm not entirely sure why they do that. Maybe that's because it's more a thing of the first part, or I have to play further. But yeah, that's the goal. By that, you have to travel through the world, go through different terrains, and find the water drops on the map that actually feels rather big, surprisingly. What Woodle Tree 2 does right is definitely that it has a super cute design and the characters are just very lovable. I don't know, it's just very cute and fun to jump through this very colorful world and see all these cute little creatures, and I don't know, it is definitely done right in that regard. And yes, the map actually feels really big. I ended up getting into corners which I didn't think would be there. So yeah, a lot to explore, a lot of unexpected places that you kind of also want to go to, because you do get rewards. That makes the game feel a lot bigger than you would think at the first place. Generally speaking, I have to say it is feeling like a very light-hearted, almost retro style game, and if that's the kind of stuff you're into, if you like jump and run games like this, then sure, give it a try. You will not be disappointed. On the other hand, I have to say, while thinking about the game and what to say about it, I feel like the music was rather a bit boring and almost a bit repetitive, so that's a bit of a bummer. if you compare it, for example, to something like Burning Man at Sea, which is just banger after banger, yeah, here it just doesn't really give that to you. And yeah, the soundtrack is a bit boring. Bit sad because that could have lifted the game up quite a bit more, but yeah, definitely a negative for me. And generally speaking, the game does feel a lot of fun, and it's really nice to look at, but overall it feels too simple, in my opinion. Like, a lot of the enemies or creatures there that would target you are just not really a competition, and it doesn't really feel like you have to really be on your toes or anything. Instead, I would say the biggest threat is literally like you fucking up a jump. So yeah, it is okay. I get it. But at the end of the day, I have to say that's a bit of a negative for me as well. Number 4, Mulaka. In Mulaka, you play a native chosen one, basically, in the northern region of Mexico. Your task is to keep your people safe, and in order to do that, you have to take on quests, you have to fight different enemies, creatures, and solve different riddles and puzzles, basically. Yeah, you have to explore this world and basically go from place to place in order to solve these things and secure your people and this world. So what's positive about Mulaka? I would say that the gameplay feels pretty good. It's pretty fun to play. I do like these types of games overall, so yeah, feels pretty fun. The music is also quite fitting, it's quite engaging, and it does make the game more enjoyable for sure. Enemies are also pretty interesting. Like, there's pretty early on already a very good variety in enemies, which surprised me a bit, I have to say. I did enjoy that. And all the puzzles and riddles that you have to go through feel pretty engaging. Like, I don't think they are boring at all or anything. I think it's pretty cool. And yeah, that's definitely also an upside. So to the negatives. I feel like the game struggles a bit in its identity. It's not quite an open world game, but at the same time it's also not quite linear. It's somewhere in between. I don't know. I wish it would be either that one or the other. So yeah, that's a little bit of a downside for it, in my opinion. Other than that, I have to say most of the fights feel very uneven. Like, if you fight a few small enemies, that might come across as way harder than, for example, the first boss fight that I had here. I don't know, it just felt like the boss fight was rather easy. So yeah, I don't know. I wish it would be a bit better spread the difficulty. Then one more point is the art style. I know it's not supposed to be crazy or something. I know it's supposed to be a bit more of a simple way. I have to say I just don't really feel it that much, and for me that's a bit of a downside. It doesn't get me as engaged. Number 5. Lost Words Beyond the Page. In Lost Words, you play a little girl that starts writing her own diary. But not just that, you also write your own fantasy story after being supported in your passion of writing by your grandma. So yeah, you play both. For one, the part when the girl writes the diary, but at the same time you also play the fantasy story. Both of them are connected to each other, since real life events and emotions of the girl are also impacting the fantasy story. So very interesting and also kind of realistic, I would say. So what do I like about the game? I think it is super unique and fun the way it plays, and it has very interesting mechanics. I just like it so much. I think for one, the interactions in the diaries, in the diary have so many cool new ideas, and it's so fun to play and experience. I love it so much. And I also like the usage of words in the fantasy story. So I don't know, I just feel like this entire way of gaming, plus all the creativity used in this game, is absolutely cool. I love it so much. Other than that, I think the story is super engaging, cute, interesting, and emotional. I gotta admit, I did cry within this 1 hour of playing, and that was just, I did not expect that at all to happen, so really got me good. I think the story is incredible. I love it so much. Other than that, I also love the art style. Yeah, especially in the diary. It's so pretty. I have to give a big thumbs up for this one. As I said, maybe even more so in the diary than in the fantasy story, but overall very pretty. And last but not least, I love the narrator. I think she sells it very well, this entire character of the little girl you're playing. I don't know, I think it captures it perfectly and gives such a nice round feel to it. Just incredible. So what are the downsides? In my opinion, honestly, not a whole lot. I love this game. If I had to mention something, I would say the music feels a little bit average, which is not too bad, honestly. It's totally fine. I just feel like they could have elevated this almost to a perfect score for me. Other than that, maybe to some people it would be a bit, yeah, it's not that challenging, at least yet. And that might be something some people would be bored about, but I don't know. For me personally, it did not feel problematic in this game. Maybe it would also get more challenging later on, but so far it was not. Well, and with that we are done. I hope you enjoyed this and found a little game that you can have fun with yourself. Yeah, just a few recommendations on my part and a little insight. If you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe, and other than that, I see you all in the next one. Until then, bye bye!